Today we want to get right in and talk about having a mindset of gratitude. Reflections of Purpose. Hello, my name is Karen Sims. I am owner and principal of Twisted Threads, and these are our Reflections of Purpose. Thanks so much for joining us. We wanted to talk today a little bit about having, creating, growing a mindset of gratitude and kind of the benefits of having an attitude of gratitude. So, where we need to begin is really talking about how do you create that attitude of gratitude. Now, we hear it often, but a lot of times it is a focus that we need to have on training our brain, because it's easy to complain. It's easy to be like, oh, this should be a different way. Or maybe I'm just talking about me. Maybe this is not you. Maybe you're always in the best attitude and you've always got positive things to say. And you always can see the cup as half full and never half empty. Well, for those of us who maybe have challenges with that sometimes, I want to talk about how do we go through the steps of training our brain to focus on having an attitude of gratitude. So we got to recognize and enjoy life's little pleasures. And I know a few years ago, there was a book and it was entitled, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. Well, the biggest thing about the book and the success of the book really pointed to the fact that everything is the small stuff. So if we're not getting anxious about things, if we're not worrying about things that are pretty much out of our control, then we take more time to train our minds to enjoy life's little pleasures. Maybe it's the ice cream on a Sunday afternoon. Maybe it's a movie with the family. What is that thing for you that you really, really enjoy? Maybe you don't get to do it all the time, but you remind yourself of, you know what? Life is good. I know for me, sometimes remembering those friends of mine and loved ones and even just social media friends that might be going through helps me remember, you know what? Life is not that bad, because that thing that they have to walk through might be a little bit harder. And it's not my cross to bear. It's not something that I need to do. But sometimes looking at the struggles of others reminds us just how very blessed we are, the opportunity that we have to recognize that there's some good things that are going on in our lives in each and every day. If we're breathing, guess what? We have something to be thankful for. We have something to have that attitude of gratitude for. Assume positive intent when people are kind of wanting to communicate with you. Sometimes I always say, I've got my little Snoopy side eye, and I say, you discern different things, like what is the motive? What's the agenda? And of course, most people do have an agenda. But if we assume positive intent, guess what? Even when they present their agenda to us, it gives us a chance to stay on well-footed ground and a firm foundation, whereas we're not wishy-washy and our emotions are not all over the place because somebody has said something out of the way, or maybe they asked something and we were like, I knew it was going to be something. But guess what? If we assume positive intent when people approach us, even if they mean us harm, we're able to discern fully because we're not being moved by our emotions. A lot of times when we go on that defense, it causes us not to really think about what requests are being made of us, because we're like, okay, when's the other shoe going to drop? I know they coming for me. I know what it is. But if we keep in that attitude of gratitude, we'll find that as we practice it, and I say practice because it requires practice for us to do it, then we're able to get trust from more people because we give it. I love it because a book that I recently did a presentation on and one that I read is called The Speed of Trust. And, we hear a lot about Stephen Covey, the father and son and family, and all of them are really legitimate business writers. And they talk about different ways and talking about the speed of trust and how the quicker that we can gain trust from somebody, the quicker we can kind of get to the business at hand, because being distrustful costs us money, because it takes more time for us to do that investigation. It takes more time to dig deeper into that background check. But it also creates a barrier for us, because maybe in our minds we're thinking, well, I don't trust that person. And on the other end, that person is thinking, well, I don't trust them. And usually what happens is the distrust that you have will exude over to that person and it feeds each other. But if there's a little bit of trust coming from your part, you're able to try to figure out, so what is your opponent or your competitor, or even not just your competition, but people who you're on the same team with. You get the opportunity to think, okay, well, what would really be a win for them? And really having that emotional connection. And I know, you don't hear that a lot when we talk about business, but when you have an emotional connection with business, not saying internalize it, but you get the opportunity to build trust. And what happens with trust, when the next project comes after you successfully gone through this one, guess what? John Smith is going to give you a call, because it's like, I know that person's got integrity. I know I can trust that person. I know for sure. I've got a colleague that reached out to me yesterday, and one thing that we were able to communicate about our business relationship is, I trust you fully. And the same thing was reciprocated to me, because we've built that trust. And that takes time. It's not something that comes overnight. But look, we talked about training our brain for having an attitude of gratitude. Appreciate the contributions of others. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to be prepared to do it all. But those people who help you, I know for me, there are times that I've had in my life where I didn't think that I would need other people, because, self-resilience is something that I pride myself in. But I also pride myself in being vulnerable in those areas in my life to be able to say, you know what, hey, white flag, I'm going to need some help. Where are my teammates? Who's going to help carry me over the finish line? Because guess what? I got a cramp in my leg. I really do get cramps in my leg, but that's a whole nother story. Drink more water. Anyway, getting back on task. When we train our brain for gratitude, we get to appreciate the contributions of others. And then we get to really see who those people are. Maybe that person at the job who you're just like, oh, they are getting on my last nerve. I don't want to do another project with them. Take time out and maybe have some coffee. Talk to them about their life story. Get to know the person behind the title, because you will find that if you're human, if you've got a heart, you are able to build your emotional intelligence, build empathy towards that person, because we never know who's going through something that we didn't know anything about. Everybody's going through something. But just because we're having a bad day on our side, it doesn't mean that somebody else is not. So if we kind of take that teeter-totter and, get on that horse swing type of mentality of, I know that if I'm up, somebody else might be down. And if I'm down, somebody else might be up. But we get the chance to figure out, how do we balance? Acknowledge the importance of experiencing and expressing gratitude. Thank you. Please. Like, these are real words. I say them all the time. I've taught it to my children. I teach these 2 words to all of my grandchildren. Why? Because they are the difference between somebody actually connecting with you and wanting to give you an opportunity for the next time. Yeah, I get it. We're in the right now and we're trying to figure out, how do I utilize this attitude of gratitude and what's the benefit? It's a benefit to your health. Look, being upset and always side-eyeing and always believing that the world is against you will kill you faster than any drug on a counter, okay? But when you take that thought and that mindset to have an attitude of gratitude, you share more life. You share more love. You share more of the goodness that you're filled up with. I know all of our Twisted Thread family, we all come from different walks of life. But one thing that hopefully we all have in common is that we're loving life and we want to see more happiness in our lives. So remember to express and experience gratitude. Experience that hot shower. Woo. That's one of my favorite things, because I love my showers really hot. And I'm just like, I am thankful for hot water. Everybody else doesn't have hot water. Maybe it's that first cup of coffee for you. So what is it? What is it for you that allows you to experience gratitude? Is it after all the kids go to bed and you get that moment of quiet time just to sit still, not do anything, not another to-do check off your list, but just to sit still? Hopefully you will think about, after you've gone through this video and you got to the end of it and you remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and share it with your friends, you take some time to make a list of the things that you are grateful for just for today. Not even tomorrow, maybe yesterday. But what are the things that you are grateful for today? Odds are they may show up again tomorrow, but if they didn't, at least you took the time to train your brain to think about them today. And as you think about them today, put on your homework list to think about it tomorrow and think about it the next day. And look, before you know it, you will have the mindset of gratitude. And then we can kind of build off of that because there's more. Once you got that mindset of gratitude, then we can kind of grow and talk about a growth mindset in all of the other areas of your life. Look, I'm so thankful that you joined us today. It's Twisted Threads. Remember, make it an amazing day.